Okay, so let's look some more at this sentence. What else is in the sentence? Well, we have, okay, so we've sort of dealt with this. We've dealt with this constituent. What else is in the sentence? Let's look at everything else that's in this. What's left? You've got this and this and this. Okay? What's this? It's aspect. It's not relevant for the predicate domain, which is a lexical domain. Things like tense and aspect, haven't talked about outside of the current discussion, right? So what's relevant would be any other possible argument that you find in there, and this, we know we're looking for cause, like mad, like desperate, because that's sort of, you know, how we, I mean, on the test we're looking for such morphemes, because that was part of how we argued for the VP shell. Okay, so what we notice, in addition to what we said here, was that there is this X cause or causative morpheme. Okay? And what else is there? So we've sort of discussed this. And then what else have we got left? And this we said is there, but like irrelevant for the current discussion. Okay, so we've got, rather than subject and object, I'd like to talk about, you know, argument. It's a DP. So basically we've got this. We've got Sikana. Iskana, the girl. So this is a DP. As a DP must be an argument. Okay. So it's an argument. Okay. Well, what is it selected by? It's not selected by fall, because we decided fall was intransitive, and we actually found the argument of fall, right? Well, what theta role does it have?
That's an agent.
It's an agent, right? So DP argument with agent or causer, if you like, theta role, whatever, you know, both would be equally fine in this case, right? And here is where you put in the punchline, okay? As an argument, okay, it has this theta role. Where is it getting the theta role from? Remember, you can't assume what you're asked to argue for. So this is, you're asked to argue for the VP shell, okay? So what you'd have to say is, this verb, what you'd have to say here is that V, we've already said this, right? So this is the one theta role, but two arguments, right? Therefore, what does that entail? There has to be some other head, right? Other verbal head. Assigning what? What theta role is added? Assigning this agent or, you know, theta role or causer, if you like. Okay, and so that's motivation for this extra head. Right? So let me show you in the structure as well. Okay? So this verb is which one?
Fall.
No, it's not fall. I mean, it is fall. But I mean, we want the anag W. Okay, there's fall for you. Okay? Subcategorization properties? UD. Okay? Merges with? Okay, the DP, which happens to be? Kuti Matsuska. I guess we don't have any Chichewa speaker, but we'll do our best. Okay? Right, so then we're done with the verb phrase. Okay? Now if we didn't have that extra head, how would we bring in Sikana? Okay? So we need to assume that there's some extra head here that we've called little b. that assigns, this UD is that agent federal, right? And you have, notice that in Chichewa, don't put the in here, because in Chichewa I don't see any the. I just see, just put in whatever you see there. Yeah? So this goes away, and this is the VP, okay? And so we've got evidence, semantic evidence from these theta roles, and what other evidence have you noted and said is useful? You actually have what?
Cause morpheme.
This cause morpheme. So where would the cause morpheme go? Right? That's the cause. So you know, this is the head with that cause semantics. You don't have to add it in here because you've said it there, but I mean, I'm just going to put it in, okay? So there's evidence for, that's how, if you got a sentence and you'd have to argue for a VP shell based on some sentence, that's how you would do it, okay? And if you were to draw the tree, you draw the tree the exact same way you draw it for English, right? Make sure you put in the relevant data in it. If it's Russian, it's Russian. If it's Chichewa, it's Chichewa. If it's Onondaga, it's Onondaga. Whatever it is, okay? Do not worry about whether in this shell, the order of, I'm going to call them morphemes because they're not always words, right? And sometimes you just have bound morphemes. The order of morphemes here doesn't come out as what you saw in the sentence. I mean, if I were to read this, you get Nitsikana, Etsana, Kuti, Tsuka. It's not quite what I have there, right? This is not cause for concern. Why? Because really, we haven't done the whole sentence. Okay, there's tense, first of all, there's aspect, there's tense, there might be movement, there's stuff that could happen that we don't know about and we don't want to get into. Okay? So, not to worry about the fact that it's not going to come out like this, because this is the finished sentence, right? This is just step one, okay? So here what we have is that shell, okay, which observes Utah. You know, you have these heads without the arguments in the specific positions, and that's all there is to it. Other stuff might be happening after that, okay? So in some languages you can get one of the arguments maybe as just, you know, third person singular or something. So, yes, Sharianne.
Do you still do the movement part?
That's a very good question, okay? That's not something we have really talked about. If this were all you gave me, I'd be more than happy, okay? If you decided that we're doing the movement part because that's sort of what we know, equally happy. If you actually pointed out that we have to do the movement part because fall appears to the left of the causative, probably get a bonus point. Well, I mean, I don't, you know, now that I've told you. But, do you know what I mean? There's only so much one can expect because there's only so much we've really covered, right? The structure, the shell is the same cross-linguistically, given transitivity or ditransitivity and sort of the relevant theta roles, okay? This movement is assumed to also apply cross-linguistically, but, you know, say the question here was evidence for a VP shell, so, you know, brilliant, but, you know, you might not really want to, I don't know, test situation is different than when you're at home writing an assignment and thinking things out. But very good question. Very good question. Yes, Amen.
I was just thinking.
Actually, sorry, I think you had a question? Okay, yes.
I was just thinking if we do the big B and little b and little b, when I was figured out. So we'll put the ETS under the little b, right?
This is the causative morpheme. So this has to be shown under little b.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, this is sort of what's in there, but I mean, there is no expectancy whatsoever that you have to do that. Okay, so that moves there, and then you get, see, this is your verb, and then this is that causative. Okay?
Yeah.
You may not sort of have the time to sort of necessarily think about all these details, right? But do be careful what, it's like the seventh time this has happened. Anyway, do be careful that you read the question carefully and that you answer that question and not some other question, you know. Or, you know, you don't answer more than that question requires you to. And so, okay, you might have lots of space on the page, but that doesn't mean you have to fill all the space. It's there because some people might need more space than others, or, you know. And it's single-sided, so you're going to write on the front. You can use the back as scrap. If somehow you want me to look at the back because you've changed your mind and now you're redoing the tree or something, then you have to let me know. Indicate an arrow or something, or else I won't look at the back. Okay? One last question because I have another meeting at 1. Are we good? Are we prepared? Can we do these things? Shells, binding theory, negative polarity items. Demonstrate that you need binary branching and not ternary branching for ditransitives. Make sure you can do that. Avner.
I mean, I don't want to ask you to do a whole example now because we don't know if you have time, but is there somewhere we can find an example of a structure, a VP structure for negative polarity items?
Yeah.
Like, do you have any trees for that?
Well, we have the trees that we did in class. Okay, now they weren't VP shells. And when you say a whole VP structure, I mean, I'm not,
Yeah,
be more specific.
I meant like a VP shell, like if you were to ask us on the test
Right.
to show a VP shell or some type of tree.
Right, well, give me an example of what it is that you want to see. Negative polarity items, okay, are just DPs, so they would be some argument somewhere.
Right. So
I guess I'm not sure what.
I don't know, I'm just not so clear about those, so I'm just wondering if it affects the structure in any way other than how you normally do a VP shell.
No, because, okay, so like if you have, you know, something like, okay, let's have something like, very, very quickly, you know, I didn't see anyone. Okay, where's the negative, which one's the negative polarity item? Anyone, right? So this is the negative polarity item. Okay? What category is that? A DP. Okay? Where would you put it in the structure? Given that you have what's the transitivity status of C?
2.
Okay, so it's transitive, so this means what? That it's going to select one argument and the subject is merged as the specified little v, right? There's nothing special about that structure. Okay? So if I were to do the shell, I would just do a shell of the same type I've done for any transitive predicate. Okay? And I'd have to have, in this case, I would have to have this didn't, because that's got negation. Right? When we did the negative polarity items, we had these trees, right? And then the subject was here. Okay, whether you show the subject here or here, you know, less relevant at this point. Both places, because really an exercise like this would focus on the relationship between neg and the dp, right? I didn't give anyone anything. How many polarity items do I have here?
I don't know what to tell you.
This one has 2, for instance. Okay? So this is transitive, sorry, it's ditransitive. Just to to show you that there's nothing special about the structures, right? So UD, you have a double object construction. You know, and you'd have to talk about both of these being licensed, for example. You would add that, okay? Okay. What if I have this? I gave no one anything. What do you think if I have to go and see that the person? I'll be back in a second. Person was waiting at my door thinking I'm not coming. Okay, so let's quickly finish this. So what would you do with this? Where would you, like, basically, negative polarity item is anything, right? But it's the same structure. Anything is here, and no one is here, right? Where's negation in this one? Do I see didn't or something like that? Where do I see negation? I see negation in no one. So this is that neg. Okay? So in this case, you see negation here, for example. Right? So you'd have to, I mean, you plug it in the same way. It's not a special structure. And you find the negative element that licenses it. Okay? Okay? All right, I'm gonna have to go. But hopefully, you're all well prepared enough, or well enough prepared to do really, really well. If anyone here did not pick up their assignment or anything like that, then hand those back now.
So there's
No, we said we're not going to do the call.